Welcome to Weekly Digest, where we highlight the works of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. Demonstrating the advancement of bilateral relations between Guyana and China, the two countries on Thursday signed an air services agreement. This promotes expansive international air services between the two countries.
This agreement addresses matters such as grant of rights, airline designation and authorization, revocation, suspension of authorization or imposition of conditions, capacity and frequency provisions, recognition of certificates and license, aviation safety and aviation security, tariffs, among many other matters.
Taking a look at agriculture, the PPPC administration remains committed to the development of agriculture, ensuring food security and reducing the food import bill of CARICOM by 25% by the year 2025. One way of ensuring this is by distributing plants to the population. Scores of people benefited from this exercise of various seeds and seedlings to boost production.
Today, our role in food security is very important. We have seen what happened over the last 2.5 years in terms of producing food around the world. We are very fortunate in Guyana that we are producing almost 60% of the food that we are consuming. But as a government, we are not satisfied with that. We want to produce more. That is why we are encouraging every citizen. You live in the urban area, you live in the rural areas.
Executing its commitment to expand the production of coconuts, government commissioned yet another coconut nursery, this time at Hossororo Region 1. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa commissioned a $4.3 million coconut nursery.
This nursery here will allow you to get your material right here in this region, rather than go out of the region. So we want to decentralize the services that we are offering in Georgetown.
Government has committed to working with spice farmers in Region 1 to expand the region's agriculture capacity. Region 1 is a powerhouse in the production of spice, such as turmeric, ginger, and black pepper.
And I will ask Nari Head to work along with the farmers to start or improve or increase the cultivation of spices, turmeric, ginger here. And I assure you that they will purchase all your spices so that you will have ready market for your spice. You will not have to send your spice all over the place. You come here, I assure you that they will purchase it. Excellent. Right? So the farmers, I am challenging you, increase, and Nari will work with you.
Food safety is in focus as stakeholders from various agencies commenced a training workshop on integrated foodborne diseases surveillance and food security.
One of the things that we have to look at, not just the end result, where somebody is getting it on the table, but we have to look at the continuum from the farm. How are these things being produced? What is that chain? How are we intervening throughout that chain? And then ultimately when it comes to the table. I think that's really important.
To promote a healthy learning environment, UNICEF, in collaboration with the Canadian High Commission, handed over personal hygiene items, games and sport equipment to the Ministry of Health.
With these health clubs, they'll be promoting and kind of reinforcing some of the things that they're being taught in school pertaining to health so that they can live and embrace a healthier lifestyle. And play, of course, is one of those things where we want to get young people to be more physically active.
The mental health environment in Guyana has seen significant changes and will see more shortly. The Ministry of Health has started to formulate a 5-year plan for mental health in Guyana.
Back then, they used to see the patient as someone that you need to take away from society and lock them up in an institution. Our approach is a rights-based approach, that mental health patients have a right to be in the community. And therefore, the new piece of legislation that we have passed have emphasized this rights-based approach to mental health.
The Ministry of Health is working on improving its laboratory capacity to adequately meet the needs of patients at different levels of the health system.
One of the things that we have been working on in the ministry is also to develop a national laboratory strategy. And we want to look at it just like how we have different layers in our health system, health posts, health centers, district hospitals, regional hospitals, referral hospital. Along that continuum, we want to ensure that at each level that we are able to do the appropriate types of testing for each of these levels.
The Health Ministry will soon introduce an electronic medical records system, moving away from the laborious paperwork. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony noted that the shift will create more efficiency in the system and will be implemented next year, starting with hospitals.
There are numerous advantages with going to an electronic system. One, we can be able to store large amounts of data, retrieve it readily, and have all the patient's records in one place. But it's also very convenient for both patient, doctors, medical staff, and so forth.
More than 181,000 residents will get access to potable water soon, with the signing of 3 contracts totaling $8.5 billion for the construction of 7 new water treatment plants in communities along the coast.
Only today, we at Cabinet, I just came from Cabinet, we have just given no objection for the upgrade of a number of the plants, existing plants, especially targeting along here on the East Bank and the East Coast, and I think a portion in Region 3. So while this focus today is for new plants, it is also equally for us to increase the capacity on the existing treatment plants.
The contractor for the construction of a solar farm at Madia, Region 8, was on Wednesday signed at the office of the Prime Minister, Georgetown. The 0.686 megawatt solar farm is set to benefit almost the 3,000 residents of the community.
A lot of people talk about the digital divide and bridging the digital divide. As a government, we're committed to also bridging the energy divide. You hear a lot about development on the coastland, but we are also committed to bring development to the hinterland of Guyana.
A board of inquiry was established to investigate a fuel vessel crashing into the Demerara Harbor Bridge in the wee hours on Saturday morning, causing a national emergency.
We have heard preliminarily some things that occurred, but we have just completed a meeting with the board of directors along with other stakeholders, and we have established a board of inquiry into this.
Minister Edgell warned water taxi operators plying the Demerara River against increasing fares during the emergency at the Demerara Harbor Bridge. He ensured that consumers were not fleeced.
Earlier today, we learned that some of the speedboat owners have hiked up the fares up to $500 per person. We had to get on the ground, put senior people on the ground, and we have addressed that. The fare is still $100.
With the swift action from government, vehicular traffic resumed the passage across the Demerara Harbor Bridge. Minister of Public Works Bishop One Edgell lauded the tireless works of the engineers. The government of Guyana has every intention to complete the Linden synthetic track, which the previous administration failed to complete during its term in office.
We have very strong intentions about developing Linden. We know how important sport is to the community. We did not stop that project. They failed to complete that project, even though they had said that it could be done. We intend to complete it and make it state of the art. So, and it's not a small amount of money that we're paying to do this, you know. These are big. They left me no designs, no bills of quantities, nothing.
Residents in Prospect and Herstelling blocks A and V are now benefiting from new recreational facilities.
Grounds in itself are healthy for our livelihood, and they are for your community upliftment too. Because in that, it helps your family development, it helps you bring out the children, it helps to keep the youngsters active so they can have a safe space and a facility that they can put their energy to other uses. And it also helped, as I said, to bring wholesome communities, community development as a one, so that you can build the networking that is required.
Minister Hamilton opined that emphasis must be placed on the practical aspects of education so that every child can benefit from learning institutions.
It is how the education system rethink and retool to ensure that every student in a class can be a success. So we have to remodel education output.
Education Minister Priya Manik Chand visited Yarra Cabra to get a first-hand update on the progress of the construction of the secondary school.
In coming in here, people said, oh, this is behind God's back. Just common parlance in Guyana. And I want to point out how far we will go to make sure, even where the press isn't existing, where you don't see that kids have no school, how far we will go to make sure every child all across this country is catered to and can finish their secondary education. I'm very pleased also that the contractor said that many of their workers are from the community of Yarra Cabra. And so we would have in this community a nursery and primary school, which are over there, and then this secondary school added to that.
The Guyana Fire and Rescue Service conducted a parade in observance of Fire Prevention Month 2022, which is being held under the theme Working Together as One Guyana to Prevent Fire.
Awareness for the public in respect of fire safety and rescue services, because you would see the emergency medical technicians are also involved. And overall, to our continuing trust of the government or PPC government in moving our capabilities, our assets, and our readiness in the new environment in respect of assuring safety to the public.
The government of Guyana will continue to provide incentives to encourage growth in the local manufacturing sector. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat, while attending a reception to mark the Barama Company's Made in Guyana certification, noted that Guyana has come a long way from previous times.
20 years ago, probably there weren't many companies manufacturing local products in Guyana either. So that is another achievement by our country, by our people. And the persistence and also the incentives that have been created by our government to encourage local manufacturing. And we will continue to do so because it is important in growing our economy, in providing opportunities for our people, in creating jobs for our people.
Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips reiterated government's commitment to investing in sports countrywide. Government has already expended huge amounts of the budgetary allocation to improve sport facilities.
I know we have to, as we go forward in 2023, increase the allocations that will be available for similar development in our hinterland.
Government is ensuring that social issues affecting children are eradicated. In this light, the Parenting Manual was launched. This people-centered initiative is a continuum of programs that are aimed at addressing the social issues.
I think if you look at the social issues that affect children across our country, it all rebounds directly back to parenting. And if we look at the Street Light project that the ministry would have launched not so long ago, getting children off the street, our program against child abuse, Every Child Safe, now our program against body shaming, we are recognizing by launching this parenting manual and widespread parent program that will be going to every region, tackling all parents in every community, that parents have the most pivotal role to play in the lives of their children.
The government of Guyana remains committed to bridging the digital divide that exists across Guyana. This means that efforts will continue to ensure those in the hinterland and the riverine communities get equitable access to technological advancement in Guyana.
Today's technologically driven world, ensuring equitable access to ICT for all is essential. We have seen the consequences of a lack of access to these services during the COVID-19 pandemic. For many, ICTs became a primary communication channel.
That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website, dpi.gov.gy, and our social media platforms. Goodbye.